We'll get started. I'll do a virtual hammer of the. Welcome to meeting number 6 of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Fisheries and Oceans. Pursuant to order of reference of May 26, 2020, the committee is meeting virtually for the first time for committee business. Today's meeting is taking place, of course, as we all know, by video conference. The proceedings are public and will be made available via the House of Commons website. So you are aware, the webcast will always show the person speaking rather than the entirety of the committee. To ensure an orderly virtual meeting, I would like to outline a few rules to follow. First, interpretation in this video conference will work very much like in a regular committee meeting. You have the choice at the bottom of your screen of either floor, English, or French. As you are speaking, if you plan to alternate from one language to the other, you will need to also switch the interpretation channel so it aligns with the language you are speaking. You may want to allow for a short pause when switching languages. Before speaking, please wait until I recognize you by name. When you are ready to speak, you can click on the microphone icon to activate your mic. A reminder that all comments by members and witnesses should be addressed through the chair. Should members have a point of order, they should activate their mic and state they have a point of order. If a member wishes to intervene for the usual committee business or on a point of order that has been raised by another member, I encourage him or her to use the raised hand function. In order to do so, you should click on participants at the bottom of the screen. When the list pops up, you will see next to your name that you can click raise hand. This will signal to the chair your interest to speak and will keep the names in the chronological order. When speaking, please speak slowly and clearly. When you are not speaking, your mic should be on mute. The use of headsets is strongly encouraged. Should any technical challenges arise, for example, in relation to interpretation or a problem with your audio arises, please advise the chair immediately and the technical team will work to resolve them. Please note that we may need to suspend during these times as we need to ensure all members are able to participate fully. Before we get started, can everyone click on their screen to the top right-hand corner and ensure they are on gallery view? With this view, you should be able to see all the participants in a grid row. It will ensure that all video participants can see one another. For today, of course, we will not be hearing witness, but we will plan our future business. For this reason, I will remind the members of a few points in relation to the motion adopted by the House on May 26th and make a few suggestions which I believe will make our meeting go easier. Motion from the House. Pursuant to the motion adopted by the House on May 26, 2020, the committee may sit virtually until Monday, September 21st, 2020 to consider matters related to the COVID-19 pandemic and other matters. As just mentioned, committees are now able to consider other matters in addition to receiving evidence. The committee may also consider motions as we normally do. As stipulated in the latest order of reference from the House, all motions shall be decided by a way of recorded vote. Finally, the House has authorized our committee to conduct some of our proceedings in camera, specifically more for the purpose of considering draft reports or the selection of witnesses. Today, we are public and we will discuss future business of the committee. This means we may have motions, amendments, debate, and that will have recorded votes. Because we are not in our physical setting by virtual, this means that if any motion or amendment is moved, we do not have the possibility to share paper copies like we often do. I would ask all members to take their time, be clear, and speak slowly. And if they move a motion or an amendment, so all members, but also all the staff understand and have time to write it down if needed. As mentioned earlier, I strongly encourage the members to use the raised hand function in order to signal to the chair your interest to speak and to keep the names in a chronological order. Of course, if we do not have any questions now, the floor is now open. Anybody have anything to bring up in regards to committee business?
Mr. Chair, I did use the raise hand function. I'm not sure if that's working, but I believe at the opening. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just at the opening of our first meeting since the COVID-19 crisis hit, I'd just like to recognize the fishermen that have been, their vessel was lost last week. They've found 3 members of the crew, but one is still missing. Like to recognize the people of the families of the community and the people of Newfoundland, how drastic that this must be, especially at this time. And just like to recognize, I think the committee would like to recognize that as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that reminder, Mel. It was indeed a very tragic incident that happened off the south coast of Newfoundland, Labrador. It's actually in MP Rogers' riding. Very devastating. Of course, three members of basically one family and another individual. And the search continues, I believe, today for that 4th individual. But it's a fishing community. Hit very hard, and with all the restrictions, of course, that we have on with COVID-19, the community don't actually know what it's going to do with regards to visitation, the funerals themselves in a lot of these small communities and probably in large ones as well. But usually it's the whole community becomes a part of this, and through this pandemic, it makes it hard for them to do that, and it's very difficult on the family members and very difficult on the community as well. So thank you for that intervention. It was good of you to think of it. We'll move on now to anybody else. If the raised hand thing is not working, maybe if you wave, Mr. Hardy.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I would like to also, send my thoughts to the communities in Newfoundland. The fishers on the West Coast don't seem to experience the nasty weather that they do in the Atlantic. But when you lose one, everybody feels it. It was interesting that not that many days ago in one of the movie channels, they were playing the movie The Perfect Storm. Of course, that's Atlantic weather at its worst, but we're facing a perfect storm situation here too with respect to the COVID-19 pandemic, the trading issues with China, and the loss of access to markets. So, fishers on both coasts, I think, are certainly weathering some very difficult times. I know that the government has stepped in, with some assistance. And I'm hopeful that the focus of our committee, at least for the first few meetings, will be to examine the assistance, look for gaps, and then start to look to the future as to what we can do after the pandemic is more or less under control, which we hope is sooner rather than later, to see what's next, to provide stimulus if necessary, but certainly to address this perfect storm that we're dealing with right now.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. Do we have Mr. Johns?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I do agree with my colleague, Mr. Hardy, that we do need to start to listen to different sectors. We've done some work, some support for independent fishers. I think we need to hear from them how things are rolling out in terms of the announcements that have been made and how that's flowing to them and what the sense of urgency is. We also haven't heard from sectors such as the sports sector. We haven't heard from inland fishers and supports for them yet. So I think it's important that we have those stakeholders appear before the committee so we can explore ways that we can support them through this very difficult time. Also, we have an ongoing crisis with the salmon emergency in British Columbia and the Big Bar slide. And it would be very important, I think, for this committee to get an update and an update on how COVID is impacting the efforts to bring back our wild salmon and certainly to help support the efforts at the Big Bar slide. And I think there's some pertinent questions there. And I think it's absolutely critical that we have the minister testify before the committee so that we can ask the minister some questions around those related issues and how COVID is impacting those emergency issues that we're facing as a country.
Thank you, Gord. I see Mr. Arnold had your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think Mr. Johns brings up an important point. We did have the minister scheduled to appear before the committee on March the 26th before everything was shut down. I would like to move a motion at this point that we request that the minister appear before the committee for 2 hours for an update on the Big Bar slide on the Fraser River and to begin in questioning on the COVID-19 response.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Arnold. Nancy, have we got that wrote down?
Yes, I did take note of the motion and the floor is open for debate.
Okay, Mr. Hardy, I see you had your hand up.
Yes, I did, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I agree with Mr. Arnold. I think that the minister was due to appear, I believe. We had talked about putting her in our schedule before the House was suspended. Clearly, a lot has happened. We see, for instance, news that the cost of the Big Bar remediation has gone up about 3 times what the original estimate was. Very clearly, there have been some challenges there. And I agree with Mr. Johns as well. The impact of the Big Bar on our wild salmon stocks and the future of them is critical. So I think it would be timely. I would propose that when we're looking at the schedule, that we look at next week as an opportunity for the minister to appear before the committee and spend that 2 hours going through all of the details.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hardy. Anyone else want to speak to that motion? Mr. Fast, sorry about that, Ed. I had you wrote down on my sheet.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks to all my colleagues for joining us here today. It's nice to be back together as a committee. And I want to echo the concerns raised by the previous 3 speakers. The West Coast salmon issue is, for us on the West Coast, obviously the most compelling and urgent issue that we face. Our West Coast salmon are declining at such a rate that it is an existential issue right now. And there are so many different challenges that the salmon face. Everything from the Big Bar slide to overfishing to the types of nets are used, fish farms. So many different issues are implicated on this issue. And the sooner that we can actually have the minister at the committee, and the sooner that we can actually flesh out additional opportunities to address the issue, the better. As you know, the Cone Commission did issue its report a number of years ago. The government responded. I recently went through that report. There were, dozens and dozens of recommendations. Some of them were responded to in a way that really did not satisfy me, and it would be very helpful for us as a committee, as part of that exercise of reviewing the West Coast salmon fishery, to walk through those recommendations and determine which ones still require a more comprehensive response from the government, because so far we still have a challenge, and there's no indication that our West Coast salmon are actually recovering at all. In fact, if anything, the signs are pointing the other way. A little anecdote I want to share with all of you. Last week, my wife went in to shop. Yes, she's socially distanced, but she came back with a couple of tins of sockeye salmon. Each tin was $7. Now, I've never seen sockeye salmon quite that expensive. And I think in part it's reflective of the fact that the supply is no longer as abundant as it used to be. And so it certainly should compel us as a committee to undertake this study and complete it and bring the minister and her officials in to speak to us. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ed. Anybody else before we vote on the motion? Gord.
Mr. Chair, can you just reread the motion just as it stands?
I believe the motion was to have the minister appear before the committee for 2 hours in a very near future. And somebody mentioned next week or something, but Mel, correct me if I'm wrong, you did ask for the minister to appear before the committee to answer questions on the big bar and the salmon, and indeed how the COVID effects have been happening for no less than 2 hours.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The big bar was the one issue, but I believe I hear other voices. I believe the minister should be able to answer questions on all matters when she appears, and I'll be further forwarding another motion, but I believe we have others that wish to speak as well. Thank you,
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I believe Mr. Arnold addressed it. The motion was simply focused on two West Coast issues for the minister to appear on, and I think it should be open so that we can discuss East Coast fishing issues as well.
Okay. Madam Gill.
Oui, je sais pas si vous avez vu,
Yes, I don't know if you saw, but I did use the hands up several times. I just wanted to be sure it was working. But with the motion, thank you for repeating it because the network wasn't working for a little while. I'd like to know something. For me, how long will the minister appear in committee? Because it seems to me that we're duplicating the work of the committee when we talk about Big Bar on the West Coast and then COVID. Would there not be a possibility of transforming the motion so that the minister could appear on several matters? That is to say, the regular questions and also the Big Bar and so on, and COVID could be included in future ones as well. Thank you, Chair.
Madam Gill, is that in the form of an amendment to the original motion?
Oui, j'ai dit le mot amendement.
Yes, I want to amend. Yes, it is an amendment. But I didn't move it, but it could maybe be 4 hours. Maybe it could be 2 hours in one instance and another 2 hours, one segment of 2 hours dealing with regular issues, the other 2-hour segment dealing with COVID.
Madam Gill, Mr. Johns, I know you had your hand up. Was that to talk to the amendment or the original motion?
Initially, Mr. Chair, I was going to table an amendment to have a date that the minister, appear before the committee by June 12th. So I just wanted to make sure that we talked about a date in that motion, so it's not open-ended.
Okay, so that would be another amendment as well. We have to deal with the First Amendment first, Mr. Johns. So hearing nothing else, we'll vote on the
Mr.
amendment.
Chair,
yes.
I believe Mr. Arnold has his hand raised.
Oh, okay. Mr. Arnold.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before we got to the amendment, I was going to propose that we have the minister appear for this meeting, but then additionally, I was going to propose another motion that we have the minister appear once per month until the COVID situation ends, or between now and September 21st when the House resumes. I don't know if that would satisfy the others if we did a second motion to have the minister appear once per month, and got this motion done and out of the way to have her appear as soon as possible.
Okay. But we do have to deal with Madam Gill's amendment first. So hearing nothing else, we'll vote on
I saw Madam Gill had her hand raised.
Yeah, but then she shook her head after that, so I thought she meant to cancel out. Madam Gill, did you have anything else to add? Oh, okay.
Non, j'ai dit non pour rien.
No, I said no for nothing. I just wanted to know what was happening because it related to me. I was like having an internal conversation with myself.
Okay. So now we'll vote on the Madam Gill's amendment. So all those in favor? I don't know how I'm supposed to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Monsieur le Président.
We should do by
Chair, Mr. Chair.
So in order to respect the order of the House, we do have to go with a recorded vote.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
I will.
Point of order, can you reread the amendment just so I've got clarification?
Yes. Would Ms. Gill actually want to read her amendment again?
Évidemment.
Can you hear me? Yes. I was told I wasn't speaking loud enough. I move that we add 2 hours of appearance for the minister so that will allow her to speak to the issues before the committee now, and then add another 2-hour segment at some point to deal with COVID, and that could be at a different time.
Everybody has heard the amendment, and of course it has to be done in a recorded vote. So, Nancy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So the recorded vote is on the amendment from Ms. Gill, and I will call your names one by one. Please be clear when you vote. Mr. Baptiste. It's a yes. Mr. Beach.
Abstain.
Monsieur Cormier.
Mr. Cormier, yes.
Mr. Hardy.
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold. You are muted.
Sorry, I thought it was on. Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Bragdon. Is Mr. Bragdon with us?
He's still with us, but he's got his video turned off and he's muted.
Okay, Mr. Bragdon, can you hear us? We're having a vote right now.
Yeah, sorry, right here. Yeah.
So we are voting on the amendment from Ms. Gill.
From Ms. Gill?
Yes.
Yeah. And sorry, I'm gonna have to abstain on this particular vote. I didn't hear the original question. My apologies. I get caught up on a call. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Calkins.
Yes.
Mr. Fast.
Yay.
Madame Gill.
Madame Gill, yes.
Mr. Johns.
Yes.
So yeas 9. Mr. Chair, you are muted.
The amendment is passed as presented, and now we'll vote on the motion as amended. So
Sorry, can you reread the motion as amended, please?
May I suggest, Mr. Chair, that you verify if there's debate for the motion as amended?
Do what? Could you repeat, Nancy, please?
I will ask that we verify if there is still debate back on the amendment, or if the members are actually ready for the vote.
You mean debate on the amended motion? Okay. Anyone for debate on the amended motion?
Chair.
Mr. Hardy.
Yes, Mr. Chair. While I agree that we need to cover more than just the COVID-19 issue, that there are other issues as well, Big Bar, Pacific Salmon, East Coast issues. I caught from Madam Gill's amendment that she wanted those other issues dealt with first and COVID-19 after that. I would prefer that we deal with Big Bar first, then COVID-19, and get into the rest of it. Now that if I've misunderstood the nature of her her amendment, that's fine. If it's still open for us to order, to schedule or sequence the issues that we deal with the minister, that's fine. But I wouldn't want to leave the COVID-19 issue to some later date because it's so current.
Okay, just to clarify, Mr. Hardy, the amendment has already been voted on and passed. So now it's debate and the amended motion, but I don't think to determine when the minister would come and talk about what, I think that will be all part of setting up the schedule as we move forward and to know when the minister is available. Mr. Beach.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello, everyone. Great to see everybody. Mr. Chair, could you please repeat the total motion as now amended, please?
Nancy, do you have that available?
Yes, I can repeat the motion as amended. The motion would read that the minister be invited to appear for 4 hours instead of 2 to cover the studies on the Big Bar and Pacific salmon and other studies of the committee, and 2 other hours on the COVID for a total of 4 hours at the earliest opportunity.
Mr. Johns.
Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward an amendment that this take place by June 12th.
Okay, we have an amendment that no later than June 12th. So is there any debate on the amendment? Seeing no hands, we'll vote on the amendment. When you're ready, Nancy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the amendment suggested by Mr. Johns is that we add no later than June 12th at the end of the motion. Mr. Baptiste. That a yes? Mr. Beach.
Abstain.
Monsieur Cormier.
Mr. Cormier.
Mr. Hardy.
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes.
Mr. Bragdon.
Yes.
Mr. Calkins.
Yes.
Mr. Fast.
Yay.
Madame Gill.
Madame Gill. Oui. Yes.
Mr. Johns.
Yes.
Yeas 10. Oui 10.
Okay, the amendment is passed. Now, if there's no further discussion, we'll vote on the motion as amended. I will remind participants, if you're not speaking, please put your device on mute. There's a lot of sounds coming back through when that doesn't happen. So Nancy, you can, any debate on the amended motion? No, okay.
Thank you. Oh, I see Mr. Arnold.
Just a question, Mr. Chair. Will this permit questioning on the estimates, and or can we request another appearance by the minister on the estimates before the date that they are to be voted on in the House?
Okay, I didn't hear in the motion that it said on the estimates.
Mr. Chair,
No.
would you like procedural advice on this?
Yes, please.
You can actually mute yourself and text me, please.
We'll just take a second, suspend for a second till I engage with the clerk, please. Of being available for the estimates. I believe the ways of dealing with the estimates had been modified where the House was not sitting, only the hybrid parliament. It was understood or agreed by all parties that the estimates will be studied by committee of the whole from all committees. So it'll be the minister will not be required to appear before committee to deal with estimates. And I think that goes for all the committees. So again, we'll get back to the voting on the original motion as presented. So Nancy, when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So the motion as amended twice. This is the vote on the motion amended twice. So Mr. Baptiste. That's a yes. Mr. Beach.
Abstain.
Monsieur Cormier.
Mr. Cormier. Yes.
Mr. Hardy.
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes.
Mr. Bragdon.
Yes.
Mr. Calkins.
Yes.
Mr. Fast.
Yay.
Madame Gill.
Madam Gill, yes.
Mr. Johns.
Yes.
Yeas 10, oui 10.
Motion is passed. Now, on to the next topic. Mr. Arnold.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move another motion that, in addition to the meeting requested in the motion just passed, that we also request the minister to appear once per month through the summer until normal operations of Parliament resume. You're muted, Mr. Chair.
What would I do without you, Mel? So the motion reads that the minister appear before committee once a month until the House starts its regular sittings. Is that correct, Mr. Arnold?
That's correct. And if we need to, I'd just like to get clarification from the clerk that the motion passed, or the motion passed by the House prevents the committee from asking the minister about the estimates.
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Does the motion that has been passed by the House prevent the committee from asking the minister about the estimates?
I would have to verify the procedure, the details about that. Do you need an answer now?
If you can get back to us at some point in the meeting, we can deal with the motion that I just addressed first, which is probably the proper order of business. But we should get clarification on that.
We can certainly look into that during the meeting. And I would ask the motion that you just mentioned, were you referring to once a month on the COVID or at large?
Once a month on matters of the committee.
Thank you very much. We will look into this. Just a moment.
Okay. Madam Gill.
I too wanted to table a motion, but I don't know if we should perhaps deal with this one that's on the table now first. Should I go ahead with my motion? I can't hear you.
Motion, or is it an amendment to this motion, Madam Gill?
No, it's a separate motion. That's why I had my hand raised, but Mr. Arnold had the floor ahead of me, so I will hold on to this until we have the next opportunity to move it.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Beach.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And while I appreciate the intent of the motion, this is unprecedented times, and certainly this committee has a lot of great work to do. We still haven't outlined what the entire summer is going to look like. I'm not sure if there is a precedent for a regular monthly attendance of the minister. I'll remind the committee members that this committee can call on the minister whenever they like. So what I would recommend is we've just signed up for a 4-hour meeting within the next 2 weeks, as early as possible for the minister. I'd say let's have that meeting. Let's determine what our business is now and going into the future. And as the minister is needed, we can certainly make an invitation to her so that she can come on the business of the time. But having just an open-ended business meeting every single month, I think, is unnecessary, and I think it's unprecedented.
Mr. Arnold? You're muted.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. Thank you. It certainly is unprecedented to have the minister appear once per month, but we are in unprecedented times. Many have said that. The situation continues to evolve. Fishermen, harvesters, processors, retailers have all been impacted and continuously are trying to adapt to the new situation. The minister has not yet appeared before this committee, has not been accountable for any of the decisions. I believe that because the summer barbecue circuit won't be happening because of travel restrictions, there won't be any international travel. and there won't be any other significant events, that certainly the minister should be able to schedule at least 2 hours per month to communicate with this committee, which is convened basically to look after the interests of fish and fishermen right across this country. So 2 hours per month certainly isn't an extraordinary demand on time, and I think it's reasonable. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I believe.
Mr. Cormier.
Vous m'entendez bien?
Can you hear me now? Listen, I think that we've just spent a motion where the minister will be invited to meetings of 4 hours. I would also like to see the minister as quickly as possible, but we want to be able to know what effects COVID has had on the fishing industry itself in British Columbia and also on our shore in the East Coast. Well, there have been consequences. We would like to see the minister every month, but I want to hear members, people, witnesses from the field who actually are involved in the industry to tell us about what the effect of COVID has been on them. We have studies that are going to be done. People will be coming to present different perspectives and their concerns, for example, about the Big Bar Slide. And I believe that we will have all the time necessary to ask the questions that must be asked of the minister. But we also have to hear the fishermen's organizations and all the others who are there and who want to give us information about the effect of COVID on the fishing industry, but also what the future will look like. How are they going to have to adapt? What measures will they have to take to have the fishing industry respond under the consequences from COVID? So I believe we have to hear all of these organizations. They have to come here to testify before our committee from BC and the East Coast.
Yeah, so Mr. Chair, I think there's a couple of things that have come up. Mr. Beach cited that we don't know about the committee sitting beyond June, and I think we need to deal with that. We are in unprecedented times. This is the greatest crisis, economic crisis that we've seen since the Great Depression. I think it's absolutely essential that we're meeting at least monthly to have discussions with our stakeholders and making sure that as things need to be amended, that we're able to react quickly. And so I'd like to amend that we do meet twice a month until the House resumes business at the end of September. And so the amendment would be that that this committee meet 2 times a month in July and August and in September until the House resumes, because without that, it's hard to have the minister testify before the committee, but we need to commit that our committee is going to meet. And I think that's absolutely essential to establish that.
Okay. Mr. Johns, can you clarify for me, are you making an amendment to the original motion by putting dates in when the committee sits, which would have nothing to do with the minister appearing? So I'm just wondering.
Well, I think it's hard for the minister to meet, to commit to meeting to a committee that hasn't established they're going to sit and meet. So the motion right now is that the minister appear before the committee, once a month until September, but we need to establish that the committee is going to meet first. So I would like to amend that, and that the committee meet in twice in amend the motion that the committee meet 2 times per month in the months of July and August, and so that would be an amendment to the motion that's put forward.
So I know, Gord, you're introducing it as an amendment, but I'm just thinking that the amendment is not part and parcel with the original motion, so it probably should be dealt with as a separate issue.
Fine with that.
Right. So, and Mr. Fast.
Well, thank you. I'm speaking in favor of the motion. I note that the last time we met was March the 12th, at which time I believe we're discussing herring bait. The officials really refused to answer any questions on one of the key issues, which was seal predation. I also note that there's a long list of studies or proposed studies that we were going to embark upon, which we assumed we'd be able to get done this year. Sport fishing, seal predation, recreational fishing, illegal and unreported fishing, fishing gear, mislabeling, Fraser steelhead, which Mr. Arnold brought forward. How are we going to ever get the work of this committee done if we don't meet and if we don't have the ability to call the minister forward to actually respond to our legitimate concerns? We have an existential West Coast salmon threat on, here in British Columbia, which we're all concerned about as Canadians. I would be just as concerned with some of the threats on the East Coast. And this committee was just recently recalled. Yes, these are unprecedented times, and unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures. Setting a number of days each month that we meet and setting a schedule on which the minister would be able to appear before us is eminently reasonable in my mind. Now think about it. The minister has had 3 months where she's had virtually no engagement really with our committee. These are times when she should be fully briefed on the issues that we have raised at committee. Surely her appearing before committee on a regular basis isn't too much of a stretch for her. I mean, in the interest of transparency, I think we need to have access to the minister on a reasonable schedule going forward. So on that basis, I'm supporting Mr. Arnold's motion.
Thank you, Mr. Fast. Mr. Batiste.
Yes, and I think that we are in challenging times, and one of I'm looking at the papers today, and they're saying this is the worst lobster season to hit Cape Breton since the 1970s. I believe that the point of this committee is to hear from stakeholders, to hear from people involved in the fisheries. I don't want to just be hearing from the minister and DFO. I want to hear from the people in my riding, my constituents. I want to hear from what's going on across Canada on the fisheries. And I really feel that what we need to do is really hear from people, hear from witnesses, and then make recommendations to the minister instead of, if we're planning, and I do support Mr. John's idea of twice a month, I wouldn't want to do an entire, waste half of that by always having the same witness with being the minister. I'd like to have that be stakeholders that can tell us what's going on in the fisheries industry, which allows us to make the recommendations that we need to improve the fisheries in Canada. So I just don't see that we need to always bring in the minister, and I don't believe I'll be supporting this motion of making sure that every month that we have to hear from the minister. Thanks.
Madame Gill.
Ms. Gill? Well, I think that Mr. Fast has taken some of the words out of my mouth. For the first part, we are in times that have never occurred before. In the North, the Maritimes, the West, and in Quebec, we are living through very unusual times. But hearing the minister does not prevent other things. We could ask the minister to appear during the summer and also hear witnesses. I think that we do need to hear the witnesses, as Mr. Johns has said earlier. We need to look at a possible agenda for the committee for this summer, but as far as I'm concerned, we can call all the witnesses necessary as the need is.
Thank you, Madam Gill. Mr. Arnold. You're on mute. You're still on mute.
There we go. Too many different ways of muting and unmuting. This certainly isn't Parliament. Mr. Chair, it may be prudent at this point to suggest tabling the motion about the minister, and perhaps what we should deal with first is this meeting schedule for the committee, and then we would be better suited to determine how many meetings we may want the minister to appear for. So if others agree, I would agree to tabling this motion temporarily until we determine a meeting schedule for the committee for the month of June and for the summer months.
Okay, thank you, Mel. I know, Blaine, Mr. Calkins, you had your hand up or waving there for a few seconds. Do you still wish to speak to the original motion?
I believe if Mel is going to withdraw the motion to deal with committee schedule and then present it back, then I'll make my interventions at that particular point in time. Chair, could you just clarify, is Mr. Arnold's motion no longer before the committee?
I believe what Mr. Arnold said was he'd table it until we deal with the actual schedule and then come back to his motion after that.
Very well.
Okay, so Mr. Johns.
So, Mr. Chair, I would like to move that the committee meet 2 times a month. So this is a motion that I'm tabling in July and August and September until the House meet.
Okay, so Mr. Johns, you're moving that the House meet 2 times a month until the House reconvenes. Of course, our schedule is set for June month, so that's aside from the June meetings that are already scheduled.
Mr. Chair, I would be satisfied with just setting right now that we meet twice in July and twice in August, because we do reconvene in September.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Johns. Any discussion to that? Madam Gill.
This is a question about the motion. When we speak twice, does that mean, are we looking at 2 times 4 hours or 2 times 2 hours? Because when we sit, our completed sitting week is really 4 hours.
Yeah, understood. I believe each committee meeting, unless we extend it, is for 2 hours. So I think what Mr. Johns' motion, that would be 4 hours in July and 4 hours in August. Is that the understanding of your motion, Mr. Johns?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion on that, Mr. Hardy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My concern is the continuity of our discussions and our hearings. Meeting once a month leaves far too long a gap, I think, between sessions. I would propose amending Mr. John's motion to say that the committee meet 4 times per month in July, 4 times per month in August, for 2 hours each meeting.
Okay, Mel. Mr. Arnold.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also agree that once per month isn't enough, or 2 times per month isn't enough. I would tend to agree with Mr. Hardy on 4 times for July and 4 times for August. A minimum of 4 times for July, 4 times for August. We can add additional meetings if we choose to as a committee, but I would agree with scheduling a minimum of 4 times per month. So I'm not sure if we're on the amendment by Mr. Hardy now. If we are, I would agree to a minimum of, if we put in the word minimum to his amendment, to minimum of 4 times per month in July and 4 times per month in August.
I can take that as a friendly if you wish.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hardy. Madam Gill.
I have a question, once again, with respect to the periods that are covered. At the end of June and the beginning of September, theoretically, Parliament will reconvene on September 21st. So shouldn't we give ourselves some leeway to decide amongst ourselves as to the schedule that we will follow until the House reconvenes, and leave some vacant time between June 19 and June 30th, this 2 weeks at the end of the month where there will be no committee sitting? Thank you.
Mr. Batiste, is this to the amendment?
Yeah, I just want to be clear that I had said earlier that I would support Mr. John's motion for 2 per month, and I'll stick with that. And I think that's an appropriate time for us to get things done.
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I agree with Mr. Batiste. Mr. John's motion gives us that flexibility. The committee can change at any time its direction. At this time, it would appear that the timelines would be adequate in Mr. John's motion.
Mr. Cormier, do you have your hand up?
Wait.
Yes, I'm in favor of Mr. John's motion as drafted that will give us the time to look at a variety of matters. And I agree that the minister should appear, but we also have to hear from the industry and the various organizations that are in difficulty right now with what is happening under COVID.
Mr. Hardy?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'm going to withdraw my motion. I think that looking at the calendar and looking at the rhythm of what we're up to here, that I think that I'm more tending to support Mr. John's motion. Thank you.
Okay, so your amendment is withdrawn. So right now we're back to the original motion of Mr. Johns. Any further discussion on Mr. John's motion? Mel?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I don't believe once per month is sufficient for what this committee should be dealing with in these unprecedented times. First of all, I would like to seek clarification. We received a draft calendar that showed meetings twice a week through till the end of June, but I don't know whether that was actually adopted or if it's only the meetings up until June the 19th, when the House would normally recess. What meetings are scheduled? How many meetings are scheduled between now and the end of June before we move further on this?
Nancy, do you want to clarify that? I thought it was twice a week in June.
Yes, I can. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I can certainly clarify. There was a calendar that was out. There was an agreement between all the whips of all the recognized parties on the committee that the committee will meet twice this week, and again twice the week after, and twice the week after, for a total of 6 meetings in June. This is what it has been agreed by the whips at this time, and we are informed that it could be modified. Specifically, the date and times could be modified, but as of now, the calendar that you saw is what was agreed by the whips of all parties.
Thank you, Nancy, for that. Mel, just to your point, I think you said once a month. I believe Mr. John's motion is to meet twice a month. It's not once a month, it's twice a month in the original motion. Madam Gill.
I would move an amendment, if I'm allowed, to Mr. John's motion. Yes? I, for one, and it goes back to the question that I asked earlier on, if with respect to Mr. John's motion and the frequency, that is every 2 weeks, I think that 8 hours is a normal workday for ordinary people. And I don't think it would be too much to ask of the committee to meet every 2 weeks, 2 hours plus 2 hours, like we would do under normal circumstances for the rest of the summer, or including the months of July and August. I say yes, twice a month, but 4-hour segments at each meeting, not 2.
Okay, so Madam Gill, if I get you correct, you would propose that if we're meeting twice per month, you would amend the motion to meet for 4 hours for each of those meetings.
Yeah, but not necessarily 4 hours in a row, but it should be 4 hours a week. It could be split in 2 in the week, but 4 hours a week.
Okay, so are you proposing we do 2 extra meetings? It's either your amendment is adding 2 hours onto the 2 meetings per month that Mr. Johnson's proposing his original motion, or you're suggesting we add 2 more meetings at 2 hours each.
Yes, you're quite right. Yes, exactly. So if you have 4 weeks where we should be sitting 2 hours, that makes 8 hours. I would add 2 hours to each of these weeks for a total of 16 hours. I don't know how you want to do it. I've just decided that. It doesn't necessarily have to be consecutive, but the total should be there.
So, Mel, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with Madam Gill. We should at least be able to commit as committee members to 8 hours per month. That would be 4 2-hour meetings per month. I would agree with an amendment to Mr. John's motion that the committee meet a minimum of 4 times per month for the months of July and August, as well as meeting 2 times per week until the end of June.
Mr. Chair, if you want, maybe we can discuss to make sure that we are on the same page.
Okay.
Could you please contact me?
Yep. We'll suspend for a moment. want to make sure everybody understands exactly what has taken place with the amendments. From Madam Gill, basically the amendment is to increase from 4 hours a month to 16 hours a month, irregardless of how we as a committee decide afterwards to do that, whether it's extended hours or extended days or extra days. No? Madam Gill.
C'est de prolonger.
To extend to 8 hours. 8 hours a month rather than 2 2-hour meetings. So we would have 8-hour meetings, but it would be 16 hours in total for July and August. 2 times 8 for those 2 months.
Yes, with a total of 16 hours per month.
No. Mr. Johns suggested 2 hours twice a month, 4 hours. I suggest 2 4-hour meetings a month. So for the months of July and August, it is 2 times a total of 8 hours, which makes 16 hours over 2 months.
Okay, which could be worked out either in 2 meetings at 4 hours or 4 meetings at 2 hours. Okay, so now we're understood. So we'll vote on the amendment first. And the amendment would be that we do a total of 8 hours for the month of July and 8 hours for the month of August. So Nancy, if you want to record the vote, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So the vote on the amendment by Madame Gill. Mr. Baptiste.
Sorry, before we vote, point of order, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, or Mr. Chair.
Mr. Beach.
I just want to make sure that we're all very clear. So we're adding if we accept the current amendment, it would be for 8 hours of meetings at a meeting schedule to be determined by us after this vote, or how is that going to be determined?
Yes, we would have to determine that after this vote when we determine how many meetings we would have going forward for the schedule.
And so the total hours that we're voting on in this motion per month for July and August would be?
8 hours per month.
Thank you, sir.
Which would be a total of 16 hours for combined.
Thank you.
So Nancy, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So on the amendment of Madame Gill, that the committee meet for 8 hours a month and a total of 16 hours for the month of July and August. Mr. Baptiste.
I think we can extend hours as needed, but I will support Gord Jones' thing and vote against this amendment.
So it's a nay. Mr. Beach.
Voting against, supporting Gord's.
Monsieur Cormier.
Mr. Cormier. No.
Mr. Hardy.
No.
Mr. Morrissey.
No.
Mr. Arnold.
I vote for the amendment. I believe we can meet 8 hours per month.
Mr. Bragdon.
Mr. Moore is in for Mr. Bragdon.
Oh, sorry about that. Mr. Moore.
Oui.
Yes.
Mr. Calkins.
Absolutely. 8 hours should be a minimum. I mean, we just had, what, 3 months off? We can't work a little bit in July and August? You kidding me?
Mr. Fast.
Yay.
Madame Gill.
Madame Gill. Yes.
Mr. Johns.
No, I think that we can start with these meetings and we can always expand and increase.
Just as a point, and I've noticed a couple of people have done it, there's no debate during a vote. It's just a yay or a nay. So if we could stick with that, please.
So yeas, yes. 5, 5. Nays, no. 6, 6.
Okay, the amendment is defeated. So now we go back to the main motion by Mr. Johns, which I think we all understand as 2 meetings per month for July and August. So again, Nancy, when you're ready.
So on the main motion by Mr. Johns, Mr. Baptiste,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Monsieur Cormier,
Yes.
Mr. Hardy,
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold. You're muted, Mr. Arnold.
Sorry, no.
Mr. Moore,
No.
Mr. Calkins,
Nope.
Mr. Fast,
Nay.
Madame Gill,
Madam Gill. No.
Mr. Johns,
Yes.
yeas, oui, 6, 6. Nays, non, 5, 5.
Motion is passed. Moving on to further business, it was to discuss, I think, the dates that we would actually sit for those dates. Somebody brought that up earlier, that we would do that after this motion to decide what dates we're actually going to assign those meeting times to in both July and August. Anybody have any suggestions of what weeks, or Mr. Beach?
Open to whatever is good for the committee, but I'd suggest perhaps the same days as hybrid parliament, if that works for everybody.
Mr. Batiste?
That works for me. Yes.
Nancy, you had your hand up?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I would like to clarify that when it comes to the schedule of the committee, the members have to be in touch with their whips. There is some work that has to be done with the whips of the committees and also with the resources of the House to see when there are availabilities and when it is possible to meet.
Okay, so if everybody is in agreement, can we leave this till probably next week so as we can talk to the House leadership to see what dates they would propose would be better for us to sit as a committee in July and when we sit in August. I know Mr. Arnold has indicated okay with that. Is everybody else okay with it? Hearing no dissension, I'll assume that that's good to go. So we'll get that schedule ironed out. I guess it haven't got to be done right away. It's not till July and August. Madame Gill.
I wonder if now would be a good time for me to move my motion.
Yes, whenever you're ready.
Merci.
Thank you very much. I will read it. I gave notice on May 28th. The motion is that pursuant to the order of reference of Tuesday, May 26, 2020, the committee undertake a study of at least 4 meetings identifying the impacts of COVID-19 on fishing industry stakeholders such as independent fishers, processing plants, First Nations and workers, that the committee call witnesses, including senior departmental officials in the Department of Fisheries and Oceans and interested stakeholders groups to testify, and that the committee report its conclusions and recommendations to the House.
Okay, we've heard the motion. Has everybody got their copy of that motion, or? Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Johns.
Just a friendly amendment, just to change the wording from First Nations to Indigenous, and add sport fishing as well, because we haven't talked about them in addition to independent fishers, sport fishers.
So everybody has heard Mr. John's amendment to change First Nations to Indigenous.
It's the translation. The translation in French it is autochtone. In English it is Indigenous.
Okay.
So, Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Mr. Johns is on to something, but there's a difference between a sport fisher. I'm a sport fisherman. I consider myself a sport fisherman. But there are also people who are guides and outfitters and lodges. Yeah. And I'm assuming that Mr. Johns meant to include everybody from the person who just buys a fishing license and takes themselves fishing, right up to those who are business owners.
That's right.
With seasonal industry who take people as guides or outfitters out for recreational fishing. I would prefer to call it recreational fishing.
Yeah, sure.
But
that sounds good.
I'm not fussy either way.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mr. Johns. Has everybody heard the amendment? Any further discussion?
Just to clarify, we'll use the word recreation instead of sport, and Indigenous instead of First Nations because of on the English side of that. Just friendly amendments.
Okay. So we'll vote on the amendment. All those in, not getting out of line. When you're ready, Nancy, to record the vote, please.
So I believe okay. So the vote on the amendment.
Yes.
First, Mr. Baptiste.
Yes.
Mr. Beach.
Yes.
Monsieur Cormier.
Mr. Cormier. Yes.
Mr. Hardy.
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes.
Mr. Bragdon.
Yes.
Sorry, is Mr. Bragdon or Mr. Moore?
It's Rob Moore. Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Moore, yes. Mr. Calkins.
Yes.
Mr. Fast.
Yay.
Madame Gill.
Madame Gill. Yes.
Mr. Johns.
Yes.
So it's all yeas for the amendment, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
Point
Nancy.
of order, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Hawkins.
So now that we've got another study added to the list of things that we're already studying, and given the fact that we're now in the third phase of the of motions that govern a COVID committee of the whole, which some people are referring to as modified parliament, it's not parliament. And given the fact that this committee and its work is actually given to us or instructed to us from the House of Commons, which is adjourned, when we do a study, how exactly are you as chair going to report to a house that doesn't exist?
I would ask Nancy to clarify, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So the motion adopted by the House is that the committee can study for the COVID-19 and also other matters. And the motion of the House specified that the committee can meet in camera in order to consider draft reports. So the committee can do that. There is no specific definition as per when the committee can present a report. At this time, there is no routine proceedings in the House plan, so the committee would not be able to present the report. However, it doesn't mean that the committee cannot study and prepare and adopt a report, but the committee at this time would not be able to present the report until there is the House is back and there's routine proceedings.
So I assume then, Chair, that the committee is still operating under the normal rules that a committee would operate on, and that any consideration of a report from this committee would be done in camera and would be embargoed until you, Chair, would rise in the House of Commons during routine proceedings and present it. Until there is actually a House of Commons, then, would I understand that any work that we do would simply be put on the shelf until an actual Parliament resumed?
All our meetings are in public, so I guess it'll be in the public anyway if there people are interested in listening to it.
Yeah, consideration of draft reports is never done usually in a public meeting. I suppose we can do that if we choose to. I'm just wondering, you know, I think these are all worthwhile exercises, Chair. I'm not trying to suggest that they're not. I mean, I'm here because I think this is a worthwhile exercise. I'm simply trying to figure out what the point of the exercise would be if we're not able to actually publish or make public a report as a result of the study that this committee undertakes over the summer months without a mechanism for you, Chair, to rise in the House of Commons and make that report public.
Mr. Cormier.
Oui, Monsieur.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I have a notice of motion to move, but I don't know if you want to do it now or do you want to wait until this discussion with Mr. Calkins is finished?
Dealt with the Madam Gill's main motion, yes.
Perfect.
So if there's no further discussion, we'll vote on the motion as amended by Madam Gill.
Mr. Chair, I believe Mr. Cormier has his hand raised in blue.
Mr. Cormier.
No, I took my raised hand off.
Thank you. So Nancy, when you're ready for the vote, please.
So the vote on the motion from Madame Gill as amended. Mr. Baptiste.
Yes.
Mr. Beach.
Yes.
Monsieur Cormier.
Oui.
Yes.
Mr. Hardy.
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
Mr. Chair, I'm not clear on the motion as amended. Could I have it repeated, please?
When you're ready, Nancy.
So the motion by Madame Gill is that pursuant to the order of reference of May 26, 2020, the committee undertake a study of at least 4 meetings to identify the impacts of COVID-19 on fishing industry stakeholders such as independent fishers, processing plants, First Nations, and workers, that the committee call witnesses including senior department officials from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, an interested stakeholder group to testify, and that the committee report its conclusions and recommendations to the House. Now, there was an amendment that was adopted, was to modify, First Nation would be modified with indigenous, and we would add what Mr. Calkins called recreational fishers.
Is that understood, Mr. Arnold?
I am. I'm just now, I guess we've called for the minister to appear already. Is this going to be part of?
Mel, we're in the middle of a vote, I think, on this one. So.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll vote for the motion. Yes.
Oh, sorry about that. So back to the vote on the motion. And Mr. Arnold?
Yes, we.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Moore.
Mr. Bragdon is back.
Oh, Mr. Bragdon is back. Mr. Bragdon.
Yes, in support.
Mr. Calkins.
Yay.
Mr. Fast.
Yay.
Madame Gill.
Madame Gill. Yes.
Mr. Johns.
Yes.
So all yeas, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, everyone. That might be our first, is it a unanimous vote? So today, Mr. Cormier.
Yes.
Vous m'entendez bien?
Can you hear me?
Parfait.
All right.
C'est ça, c'était juste pour faire.
I just wanted to give a notice of motion. May I do it now?
Parfait. Je l'ai en anglais et en français.
I have it in English and in French, so I will begin in French. That the Standing Committee on Fisheries and Oceans undertake a study on the management, fisheries management methods put in place to deal with the black whale with respect to the number of deaths of the whale in Atlantic Canada and in other regions, and make recommendations to the government to undertake measures, that the committee invite witnesses to appear, including officials from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans and interested parties, and supply the necessary resources for that, and that the committee report back to the House of Commons. I will repeat it in English. Thank you.
Okay.
Alors, that the Standing Committee on Fisheries and Ocean undertake a study to examine the fishery management measure put in place to protect North Atlantic right whales in order to evaluate the impact these measures have had on the reduction of right whales' death in Atlantic Canada and Quebec, as well as the impact on the economy of coastal community in this region, and to provide the government with option and recommendation to improve this measure. That the committee call witnesses, including senior officials from the Department of Fisheries and Ocean, Canada, and interested stakeholders group, to testify before the committee, that the chair be empowered to coordinate the necessary witnesses, resources, and scheduling to complete this task, and that the committee report its conclusion and recommendation to the House of Commons. I'm just going to change language again. Alors,
I want to do this so the committee isn't taken aback by this. I'm proposing that this be done in the fall or during the winter, just so you don't get taken aback by my request. I know here in the Gulf, St. Lawrence Gulf, and around the Ile de la Madeleine area and around my riding here, we've had a lot of right whales, but the government has been taking exceptional measures since 2017 to protect them. It has had an effect on on the fishers and also on the various industries that deal with that. We want to be able to improve the measures that have been put in place since 2017, so over 2018 and 2019, so that there can be a harmonization of the coexistence of the whales themselves and the fishers who have their interests as well. There are various other species of fish that are there. And what I propose is to do a study over the fall or the winter and to invite fishers organizations, representatives of other stakeholders, people who have had to live with the impacts of the changes that were made to protect the right whale. Again, I say that the whales are there. In fact, earlier than we ever thought they would be there in the Gulf area, well before the fishing season opened in the past. And even though the efforts of the government have borne fruit, unfortunately, the fishers have not been able to fish in the same way as they did before the protection measures were imposed for the right whale. So what I'd like to see perhaps would be new measures that might be more beneficial for the fishers, for the plant workers, fish plant workers, and also for the whole area. That is why I'm moving this motion.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, Mr. Cormier, because at the beginning you said you were giving notice of motion. I just wanted to find out where you're actually moving it because you were speaking to it, and you can move a motion during committee business. Mr. Calkins.
Thank you, Chair. I find it very entertaining to listen to a motion proposing a new study coming from a party that just voted down increased hours to do studies. However, I do believe that the motion is a worthwhile one to discuss and to have brought in front of the committee. But I would amend the motion by adding in front of the words department officials, invite the minister and department officials. Let's see if the minister has some solutions for us.
Okay, so the amendment is to add the word minister in front of departmental officials. Any discussion on that, on the amendment? Ed? Mr. Fast?
No, I was going to speak to the main motion. If this is an amendment, I'll speak to the main motion after this.
Okay. So hearing no other interventions on or any interventions on the amendment, Nancy will go to the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the vote is on the amendment from Mr. Calkins to add minister. Mr. Baptiste. You're muted. No. Can you say it? No. Mr. Beach.
No.
Monsieur Cormier.
Cormier? No.
Mr. Hardy.
No.
Mr. Morrissey.
No.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes.
Mr. Bragdon.
Yes.
Mr. Calkins.
Apparently we have more confidence in the minister than her own team, so yes.
Mr. Fast. Is Mr. Fast with us?
No.
Madame Gill.
Madame Gill. Yes.
Mr. Johns.
Can you reread the amendment, please, for me?
Yes, the amendment is that the word minister be added before department officials.
Yes.
Yeas, oui, 5. Nays, 6. Non, 6.
Now to the main motion as presented. Any debate? Mr. Fast?
Yes, I want to echo my colleague, Mr. Calkins. Is the committee not puzzled by the irony of this motion? I mean, the issue of right whale protection and predation is certainly worthy of study, but the clerk has, we've gone through the list of motions. I mentioned those earlier. I would ask the clerk just to let us know how many studies do we now have on the docket to consider?
Nancy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do not have the total number of studies right now, but if I'm correct, I believe at the first or second meeting, the committee adopted about 10 or 12 motions, and I believe now that we adopted one for COVID, and so I can make the final calculation to give you the correct number if you give me a few minutes, but it would be definitely over 10.
Wow. I mean, again, I go back to it. Isn't it ironic? Here we've got 10, 11, maybe 12 studies that we're looking to undertake. And for weeks now, we Conservatives have been asking the Prime Minister to have Parliament return to a normal routine and normal schedule. And the Prime Minister has repeatedly said no to returning to normal sittings of the House. Now, our committee that has not sat for 3 months is being asked to undertake at least anywhere from 10 to 12 studies. And yet just a few minutes ago, the Liberal and NDP members of this committee said a big no to meeting more regularly during the summer. A proposal that would have allowed us to at least start to work on these studies. I mean, I just don't understand how this committee can expect to do all of its work when it's not prepared to make up for lost time from the last 3 months and sit a little more often, a little more regularly during the summer. I'm just gobsmacked, quite frankly, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Fast. Mr. Johns.
Well, first, Mr. Chair, I have to comment and respond to that comment by my colleague. It was the NDP actually that worked with the government, pressured the government, so this committee actually started sitting as the next committee sitting. So here we are. We've committed to sitting over the summer. The Conservatives initially wanted the House to rise on June 17th and reconvene in September. Right now, we're sitting over the summer, and we have a chance while we're sitting over the summer to increase meetings should we decide to do that. And we have to be cognizant of our whips, of the staff of the House of Commons, whether this is even feasible to have further meetings. So we're starting with 2. And I think that this is an opportunity right now for us to get started. I agree. We have a lot of work to do and a lot of catching up to do, which is why we're sitting over the summer, why we're going to have questions at the COVID committee over the summer, why we're, having 95-minute question periods instead of 45-minute question periods. I mean, this is something that we could talk about all day and we can spend our committee time on this. But right now, adding this study gives us a chance to prioritize how we're going to work forward. Yes, we have a lot of studies. I'm up for increased meetings. We are not opposed to that, the NDP. In fact, we are the ones who've been pushing for this committee to sit and for us to meet over the summer months. So there's no hesitation for us to want to work harder and more, but we got to make sure we do it and do it with our party whips and make sure that we're cognizant of the staff of the House of Commons so that this is feasible. And we're starting with those 2 meetings. So I support the motion. I think it's a good motion for us to have on our docket. And as we look at our priorities, certainly it can't be ahead of what we've identified we need to study that we had agreed to in March. Those studies are going to take us now into the fall. Certainly salmon is going to take us throughout the summer and into the fall because it's a study that needs priority attention. So I support this motion.
Thank you, Gord. Madam Gill.
Oh, yes. I just saw it. All I wanted to do was to say something more specific to Mr. Johns when he says the House is sitting. I just want to rectify that it's not the normal Parliament. On the contrary, what was brought in was a motion that allows the House to sit as a COVID committee. So certainly it's not a normal Parliament. I want to change that information because it seemed erroneous to me.
Thank you, Madam Gill. Any further debate on Mr. Cormier's motion? Mr. Arnold?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to make it clear that this motion or this study would not be put ahead of any other motions that we already have on the books as this committee. I didn't see anything in the motion, or I didn't hear anything in the motion itself that would said that it was immediate. We have 11 studies on the books already. We've already identified that those studies are vitally important to the sectors that they represent. Is this motion going, as it is, going to preclude any of these other studies that are already passed?
Miss.
Go ahead, Mr. Cormier.
I think I was very clear after I read my motion that, I put this forward to that this be studied like when we come back more at the fall, or even during winter time. Like the fishing is going on right now, but I want to put that out there because as I think all the members of the committee know, like this is not only important to me, but it's a situation where they're right well that we will live it since 2017. So I was very clear reading that motion that it is going to be when we come back during falls or first couple of weeks of winters.
And I believe, Mr. Arnold, before I go to you, it's the will of the committee, I guess, which one they do first, or second, unless it's expressed in the motion that it be done immediately. The committee will sit down and decide which one they'll do next, and so on. I think that's the way we've always done it. So when you're ready, Mr. Arnold.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm certainly not opposed to the intent of the motion. I just want to recognize that the other motions that have been put forward, we believed were of timely importance, and that this should not be taking precedent over any of these other meetings. I'll put that on the record now, but I will support the motion because of its intent, but not putting a timeline on it.
Duly noted. If there's no further discussion, we'll go to the vote. Seeing none. Nancy, when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So on the motion, Mr. Baptiste.
Yes.
Mr. Beach.
Yes.
Monsieur Cormier.
Oui.
Mr. Hardy.
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes, we.
Mr. Bragdon.
Yes.
Mr. Calkins.
Yes.
Mr. Fast.
Yay.
Madame Gill.
Madame Gill, yes.
Oui. Mr. Johns.
Yes.
So total is all yeas, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that. The motion is passed. Now, before we clue up for the day in a matter of a few minutes, Wednesday, we have committee again. What would we like to see on the agenda for this coming Wednesday meeting? Anyone? Mr. Arnold?
Mr. Arnold, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before we move on any further, I'd just like more clarification on the estimates and whether the committee can study the estimates or discuss the estimates at this point in time. I don't see anything in the government motion that was passed prohibiting the committee from considering the estimates or asking questions. I would just like clarification on that, whether we are prohibited from discussing the estimates, and if so, where is that noted from?
Nancy, could you clarify, please?
Yes, so I got the answer, and thank you for the question, Mr. Arnold. So the answer that I have here is that The motion adopted on May 26 states that if the supplementary estimates for the period ending March 31st, 2021 are tabled during the period the House stands adjourned, they will be dealt with in Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, June 17, 2020. However, committees have until Friday, November 27, 2020 to report the main estimates for the period ending March 31st, 2021 to the House. Hence, the questions to the ministers on the main estimates would be in order.
Thank you,
Does that
Nancy.
answer your question, Mr. Arnold?
Thank you, Nancy. That certainly clarifies things. So it sounds like we will have the opportunity to question the estimates. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Calkins.
If the committee does go ahead and reviews the estimates, how will you be reporting that to the House?
Actually, the committee can report to the House electronically on Wednesdays. The committee can report to the House on Wednesdays, Mr. Calkins, electronically, is my understanding.
Yes, if I may specify, the special order adopted by the House on May 26, there's a specification that if the committee has an order, for example, order of reference, then the committee can present back to the House electronically.
Okay, any further discussion before we try and figure out what we're going to do Wednesday?
Mr. Chair, would it not be appropriate for us to have senior staff from the department report to the committee and update us on the COVID response at the earliest convenience?
Okay, is it your suggestion we try and have them for Wednesday?
Yes, that's right.
Everybody in favor of trying to do that, or Mr. Arnold?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would support having the officials appear before committee as soon as possible. This is meeting number 6, and so far this committee has only done 3.5 hours of actual study work since we formed as a committee. So I'd like to get down to some groundwork and getting some work done by the committee. Thank you.
Mr. Hardy.
Yes. Have we decided which days we will be meeting on over the summer, and have we decided the order of the studies on deck that the order we're going to take them in? Have we prioritized them? If not, then that's something that we should clear up for sure on Wednesday.
Okay, I'm sure we could probably find some time to do some prioritization of what we were going to do going forward. Right now, we're trying to figure out for Wednesday. So far, we have invited the officials in to talk about the COVID response and as well do some committee business for meetings going forward and prioritize some of the studies, I guess, are what we have on our docket, as Mr. Fast and others have indicated. We've got quite a list, so we should probably look at trying to get some of that whittled down a little bit before we consider doing any more studies.
Mr. Chair, would it be appropriate for us to have the senior bureaucrats and officials appear for the first hour and the second hour, get a briefing on the big bar? Would my colleagues agree that that would be appropriate given the sense of urgency around big bar?
Mr. Johns, if I could suggest that maybe we allocate probably an hour and a half to officials and whoever is there to talk about COVID and Big Bear. It'll probably be the same officials, I would think, but leave a half hour for us to itemize or try to schedule out what we're going to do going forward instead of leaving it kind of half batched and no set agenda as such. I'd rather see us have time to take a bit of time to at least discuss the first couple of things we're going to do going forward without, of course, the officials being part of that.
Clarify, Mr. Chair, maybe we just focus on COVID instead of and do Big Bar with the senior officials separately then, because I think that needs some time. Thanks.
Thank you for that, Mr. Jans. So if everybody is okay with that, we try and get the officials in on Wednesday to talk about the COVID response from the department. And of course, we'll try and use the last half hour to schedule the next 2 or 3 meetings after that, probably up to the end of June or the end of 17th or 19th, whatever week it is, so as we can get some clarity to what the committee is doing over the next month or so. So if everybody is okay with that, we'll move in that direction. And I'll say, if there's no further discussion, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.